Good morning, everyone, and welcome into the program. It's so good to be with you today, Tuesday, May 13th, 2025. America is crumbling, but we are having a great time in the tub of joy. Yes, and. Welcome in, everyone. I am having incredible technical difficulty today, as is usual for the program. It is a next level technical difficulty. Yes, and welcome in, everybody. I have a giant, everybody who has Windows, probably they get their Windows and it comes with Norton Antivirus. And then you're like, I never asked for this. And then all of a sudden it starts to break down and it starts to decay and it starts to turn into some 1980s movie about like flesh in the body, and it's decaying and falling apart and it's ruining your time online and on your computer. And so right now my entire chat screen, the place where I'll be able to monitor the chat, is completely overwhelmed by a broken scene that I can't see. I won't be able to see what anybody's saying. So come on and welcome into the program today. I'm so grateful to be here with you. We are here today to reject lies and worship facts in the face of the most abject fascism rising in our country. Does anyone give a single crap? How many craps do you give? Type in the chat how many craps you give about the fact that our country is being destroyed by the Council for National Policy. Do you know what the Council for National Policy is? If you do not, then you are in the right place. See, someone just wrote something and I have no idea what they said. Yes, and. What if I shrink everything down? Would that help? Okay, that sort of helps. Oh, this is wild. Thank you, Madison, for screenshotting every DM. Welcome to everybody who is on Substack. We are so grateful. We notified the Substack. We notified the 1,000+ subscribers of Public Enlightenment this morning. And we're so grateful to have you here, though currently we cannot find out what you are saying, so bear with us. It's so exciting. So this is a place where we worship facts, we reject lies, we work on our relationship with fear, we support each other, we talk about how much love we're going to give every single day in a world that is divided by giant dickheads who want us to be at each other's throats. That's right. Every single moment of every single day, you are in an information war, whether you know it or not. We just found some fresh video of what Steve Bannon was up to this weekend. Quite literally, this is also what Steve Bannon was up to this weekend, but we also have some fresh video that we are going to share with everybody about what Steve Bannon was up to this weekend, talking about Donald Trump running for a third term, talking about ending the right of habeas corpus, that is the right to a trial. That is the right to being imprisoned and having a trial if you are imprisoned. And they are going to get rid of that. And once they get rid of that for the immigrants, that is also a constitutional protection of everyone in America, well, guess who they're coming for next? That's right, you and me, your radical leftist communist daughter. If you are a MAGA person, your radical Marxist communist vegetable eating, book reading daughter who is a radical Marxist leftist communist is going to be obliterated by the power of the federal government, because the federal government is run by people who hate all of us. They are extremists. The Christian Nationalist Billionaires. Steve Bannon is a member of the CNP, the Council for National Policy. Go read the book Shadow Network. Read it right now. I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, so that is what we are up against. Oh, is this track ending? I'm going to come back to the main tub for a second. Hey, everybody, I wanted to get rid of that Steve Bannon thing. But do you understand? Do you get it a little bit? Are you a fact warrior? Because we need you to be. We need you to be out there worshiping facts in a time when we find it so hard to know what's going on in the world, when we find it almost impossible to get a digestible amount of news in the limited time we have, because we're parents, we're fathers, we're mothers, we're sons, we're daughters, we have jobs, we have responsibilities. We don't have the time to keep up with the news, and that's exactly the way that they want it. Yes, and so what do you do? To whom do you turn? You turn to the Mega Church of Joy, to your old pal Rev Deuce, and to his desire to help you understand the world in a time when it is almost impossible to understand what's going on in the world. It is almost impossible. And so that is what we do here. And we realize, yes, I can read the comments, by the way. And we realize that we have not added something new to the Substack in a while. So mea culpas all around, mea couples they abound. When I speak to my audience on Substack, I'm so sorry I have not written an article recently, but I'm also live streaming every single day. These episodes are stored right up here where it says Mega Church of Joy. And you can watch them down. You can learn all of the amazing stuff that we are learning every day. We are also making YouTube videos that you can use and share about liberal media bias and the myth of it. So many different things that you can do. And so we are grateful for all of you here today. Now let's get into the news with Deuce. But first, we are going to read this is a nightmare of a... Hold on, let me get something better on the screen here. All right, we'll just share that with everybody while we wait. It's interesting because you think that you plug something in, and then in this day and age, you do not know if that thing is plugged in. Anyway, that's a little bit about me. That's a little bit of the technical difficulties. Oh, and it's starting up. Okay, great. Now, here we go, everybody. We are going to read the Daily Dose together. This is a prayer. This is a secular religion based on the tenets of quality improvisational comedy, energy support, giving, connection, and gratitude. Energy support, giving, connection, gratitude, and commitment. Thank you so much. And so we use those tools to push back against the program of fear and division that is being executed against all of us by the giant dickheads who are the fear-based losers who are at the top of our society. The techno-fascists like Peter Thiel, who we are going to talk about today. The Christian nationalist billionaires who we are going to talk about today. And so if you've been saying anything in the Substack, I now can see what you are saying. And so I say to you, yes, Ed, I'm so grateful that you are here. Let's get into the news. But first, the Daily Dose. This is a prayer that we say to each other to get started in every single one of our days so that we know that we are ready to meet people where they are and to communicate to them about their social media diet, to communicate to them about their media diet in general, because guess what? That's the whole ball game. If you're worried about the world right now, if you're concerned, you're saying, what do I do? I'm going to protest. Why aren't there enough protests? Well, we'll tell you that the mainstream media is not covering the pro-democracy movement, so that's why there's not enough protests in the face of this constitutional crisis that we are well underway, that is well underway. So what do you do? The only thing you can do is fight for information. We have fascism in America because of information. We have fascism in America because fascism is the result of propaganda. It is created by propaganda. Propaganda about the other. Propaganda about the scapegoating of the people who are already in power. All of those kinds of things. And so we say yes, and we are grateful that you are here to engage in this program with us, to engage in this pursuit of facts over disinformation. Because truly, this is what we are all about here, okay? This is literally the whole ball game. Otherwise, these people are going to shoot everyone else in the streets within a year. Okay, so if you understand that about the world, then get on this program. We are fact warriors. Oh, I drove 2 people away with that. Interesting. Fascinating stuff. So let's go. Whoops. Here we go. We are going to... I can feel myself losing Substack followers. Here we go. The Daily Dose. I did not, David. Let's look into that in a little bit. Let's read the Daily Dose. Self, today I endeavor to be a better teammate than yesterday. I vow to keep it simple, to listen better, to commit harder, and to give more expertly. It is my joyous burden to make those around me appear as rock stars and support the ideas of others. I will move past obstructions, drop insecurities, and put trust in myself and others. I will attempt to emotionally connect with whomever I meet. Yes, that's true. That's what we try to do. You see someone at the coffee shop, you say, hey, how are you? I hope you're having a good day. And if they say no, you sit down with them because you are a member of the Mega Church of Joy. And I say this in the spirit of best intentions, yes and. Jason, who could ever tell what people want to hear in this world? People most often want to hear things that affirm them. I had a wonderful conversation with my friend Jamie yesterday, and he was so smart, and he was saying such smart stuff. He was talking about how these phones that we carry, I mean, they are designed. We don't have this level of intimacy with anyone besides, oh, thank goodness this thing went away. We don't have this level of intimacy that we have with our phones unless it's someone that we are in love with or is a close friend. We are hugging them. We don't bring anything this close to our bodies. And it is designed to be ergonomic and to fit onto our bodies and to be held. And it is designed to basically have a relationship with us. You know what I mean? And so what do we do when we realize that that is the reality for all of us? What do we do? I just wanted to make my head bigger. So let's first get into a couple of the things that I have for us in the program today, David, and then we will move on to what you were just talking about. So they are coming for everyone. They are coming for birthright citizenship, not really to make the MAGAs happy, but to try to grab back. You know what? Let's see if there's something about the birthright citizenship thing and Christian nationalism. Because we have the thing that I was about to pull up is about their attack on birthright citizenship. You know what I mean? Like, why are they doing this? You know what I mean? Let's check this out. We're going to check this out, everybody. Rev Deuce is investigating live with all of you, all of his best friends and lovers and neighbors. So during the 2024 presidential election primaries, the notion of birtherism again made the headlines in American political discourse. Frequently invoked by former President Donald Trump in the years prior to his running for office in 2016, birtherism refers to organized effort to sow suspicion that an individual running for political office was not born in the United States. Over a decade and a half later, Republicans once again appealed to birtherism to raise questions about the pursuit of the Republican presidential nomination of Nikki Haley. While the birther movement is not embraced in all corners of the Republican Party, questions of birth and who can exercise particular civil rights have been raised by multiple Republican candidates running for public office in recent months, focusing most squarely on birthright citizenship. Fundamental changes to the policy of birthright citizenship, however, are not supported by the majority of American public. Only 42% of respondents said they would favor or strongly favor changing the Constitution to prevent children who are born in the United States to non-U.S. citizens from being granted citizenship. Notably, 67% of respondents who identify as Republican favored or strongly favored a constitutional change related to birthright citizenship, which is significantly higher than the 40% of independents and 25% of Democrats who favored or strongly favored a constitutional change. The picture that emerges is one of which being born in the United States confers to someone the status of being truly American and the ability to enjoy civil rights associated with citizenship only if one's parents were already U.S. citizens. This logic undergirds jus sanguinis, or right of blood citizenship policy, which confers citizenship on the basis of blood lineage and can give way to more ethno-nationalist, exclusionary forms of citizenship. These patterns also help us understand the ongoing appeal of birtherism conspiracy theories on the right, which have targeted politicians of color whose parents migrated to the United States from non-European countries. So basically, in a very indirect way, let's start at the beginning of this paragraph. Collectively, PRRI data about birthright citizenship and the importance of being born. What happened to the... Why is there no waves here? Do you guys not hear the waves? I don't hear them. What's that about? They're not playing in this space. And I need to know why right now, okay? Okay, everybody? Ocean waves. Huh. Oh, you know why? Why weren't they playing in the other space? What the heck, man? This is freaking deuce out, guys. It's all breaking. Can you hear me? You can hear me in here. Okay. All right. I'll chill out. Jason hears everything. That's scary, Jason. Collectively, PRRI data about birthright citizenship and the importance of being born in the United States expose some interesting contradictions. Just as Republicans are significantly more likely to emphasize the importance of being born in the United States to be considered truly American, they are also more likely to support measures that limit citizenship based on birth. Okay, interesting. Okay, so we think that it is born of the Christian nationalist program to undermine the ability to be born here. And let's see this. Pittsburgh Jewish Chronicle. What Christian nationalism has in store for Jews and other religious minorities. Eben asked Ken Peters, the pastor of Patriot Church Ministry, for his position on repealing the 14th Amendment, which was enacted to guarantee citizenship and equal protection under the law to formerly enslaved Americans following the Civil War, and was at the heart of the abortion protections guaranteed by Roe v. Wade. This person opposes birthright citizenship and protections for immigrants and LGBTQ people. Okay. So the Christian nationalist program is opposed to birthright citizenship. So this is fascinating, right? We're finding it difficult to discover information about this. And I think that's an indictment in and of itself. This says Christian leaders are trying to defend it. There have been a few challenges to birthright citizenship since 1868. They became especially rare after 1898 when the Supreme Court upheld in United States versus Wong Kim Ark that children born on U.S. soil are citizens. That is the touchstone for this conversation. That is what I was originally going to show everyone. They are combating in court. They are trying to take on Wong Kim Ark, this case from 1898. The Trump administration claims that birthright citizenship is a magnet helping draw the flood of illegals across our borders, suggesting that ending it will curtail illegal immigration. But Relaford said this would be an ineffective immigration deterrent because it doesn't address the root causes of migration. Instead, she worries it would be used to strip civil rights from those who currently have them. Fascinating. So let's go to the touchstone for this. So this is what was originally going to be my kicking off point for today, and here it is. Former Attorney General Ed Meese, Rep. Jim Jordan, and other amici, that's people who are filing like little notes and little post-it notes in a court case. And an amicus brief is when you're like, hey, I'm down with this, and this is my credentials, and so the court should know that me, this human being in the world, and this group, this group, we like this. And it's a way of trying to say, like, hey, consider our opinion too here, Judge. And other amici offer an implausibly narrow reading of the 1898 case of U.S. Wong Kim versus Wong Kim Ark, in which the Supreme Court upheld the citizenship of a man born and raised in San Francisco to and by non-citizen parents. Now, this is fascinating when you lose Reason.com. Okay? Reason.com is a news organization that is created, it's libertarian, and it's created by right-wing billionaires, fossil fuel billionaires. And they slip in over time. It's anti-climate change. Slip in pro-fossil fuel propaganda. That's what everyone needs to understand about Reason.com. Okay, so Reason.com is a place where they, and here I'll show you right now. We love SourceWatch here. And David, I will answer your question momentarily. Reason. Excuse me, baking powder. I'm trying to click on you. Excuse me, a baking powder. Why will you not open when I click on you? I command you to open when I click on you. Squeeze me a baking powder. Bathrobe guy, welcome. Mark, welcome. Fascinatingly, I emailed all of my subscribers this morning and it did not gather the flock. But that's okay. You know, maybe Rev Deuce is, maybe what I'm doing is stupid. And that's okay. We're still having fun. Wow, SourceWatch, is it being blocked by the powers that be? The Reason Foundation, a self-described libertarian think tank, is a right-wing 501c nonprofit and associate member of the State Policy Network. That is the propaganda machine that has been created. That State Policy Network specifically was created after a conversation between Ronald Reagan and some fear-based dickhead in the 1980s where he said, why don't you do it everywhere? Why don't you do it in every state? And then he was like, oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, racist a-hole Ronald Reagan. I think that's a great idea. Let's manipulate the people by making hundreds of think tanks around the country. That's what the State Policy Network is. So Reason Foundation's projects include weekly newsletters, including themes such as regulation and banning of e-cigarettes and pension reform, annual reports focused on highways and privatization, as well as Reason Magazine. Now, they get funding from Bill and Melinda Gates. They also are anti-ESG. They have also called for the blocking of action on climate change. And so the ties to the Koch brothers. There was David Koch was a trustee, right? So Reason Magazine is a Trojan horse to further get libertarians to further hate any action on climate change. And so have I proved it unequivocally to you just now in the last 2 minutes? No, but trust me, that's the deal, and you can look that up. So David just asked, and hey, Marge KJ, is this your first time here? We love you and welcome. We would love for people who are watching on Substack to go watch on Twitch, because we only have 2 viewers on Twitch, and that's undermining our numbers. And we also need you to follow us on Twitch. Yes, and thank you. So go over there. Now, David asked, and we have to honor this. David asked, how can the church help with depression and anxiety? This is the Mega Church of Joy. It is a religion based on the tenets of quality improvisational comedy, energy, support, commitment, giving, connection, and gratitude. Now, David, we believe that the church can help, the Mega Church of Joy, that is, not the Jesus Christ Church. We believe that the Mega Church of Joy can help with depression and anxiety by helping people to use the tools to understand that joy is around every single corner when we just decide not to have misanthropy and not to have introversion. And that's not an easy thing to decide. But when you are an improviser, you realize that whenever you step onto that stage, you need tools, because you're just making it up, and it is scary, and it causes depression and anxiety just to step onto the stage and try to make up something to make people laugh when they are staring at you from an audience. And so what do? You listen to the person across from you and you react. You agree with their ideas, because it is better to work with each other than against each other. Arguing does not work on the stage or in the home. And so a cure to depression and anxiety is to engage with other human beings, even in the face of depression and anxiety that says that that is the last thing that you want to do. Right? We are about embracing fear, taking a step towards fear, following the fear, as it were. And you follow the fear towards the thing that causes depression and anxiety. And so when we talk about energy, we talk about the idea that as an improviser, because we're all making it up in life as we go along, so we are all already improvisers in the Mega Church of Joy. And so when we take a step towards our fear, we can use our energy. I may step out into a scene in an improv class or an improv show, and I may say, hey, everybody, my name is Dave, and I am a big high-priced lawyer, and I have a lot of clients to get to, and I do not have time to talk to you. And then the person who comes out opposite us, they may say, they may be newer to improv, or they may have just had another idea, and they want to force that idea into the space, and they may say, no, you're not. You're a spaghetti monster, and the world is about to end unless you shit a giant meatball. These are things that have definitely probably happened in an improv space. And so you have a choice in that moment. Do you hold on tight to the energy that you entered the scene with, or do you change your energy to get on the same page as that person, because they clearly are on their own program. And so it's only going to work if at least one of you decides, I'm going to be on this person's program. And so you use your energy to decide to change your energy in that moment. You say, okay, fine. You go, ooh, okay, we got to save the planet. Ooh, and you bear down, and you're ready to produce that meatball. And that's a choice in that moment. And I know it may sound totally crazy, but that's how we can apply that to our depression and anxiety. It's not easy, especially if you're stubborn as hell. If you're stubborn as hell, it is not easy. And so, yes, we also make people look like rock stars, right? And that is in line with the tenet of the Mega Church of Joy about giving people gifts. Exactly. David is saying, when other people lift me up, I lift them up, and vice versa. When we talk about making other people appear as rock stars in the Mega Church of Joy, it is simply the idea of giving other people gifts, which is what serves us in a comedy scene. Literally opening your mouth and having ideas in a improv scene is a way of giving someone a gift. So literally giving people the gift of your ideas and your thought, especially in a supportive and uplifting way, to make others look like rock stars, is the beginning of a connection. And we are always seeking human connection. It is the very basis and the very avenue to joy. There is no joy without connection. When you are feeling joy, you are connected to some idea that is human-based, really. Because you could see a beautiful sunset and be filled with joy, but if there is no one else there to share it with or to talk to about it, it's less joyful. David, you are really commandeering the program today, and we love your energy and your desire to do that. We would ask the people in the Substack chat if they are so willing to come over to twitch.tv/Public Enlightenment, because that would really help Revduce. There is also less of a delay there. Now, do people want Revduce to keep talking about the tenets of quality improvisational comedy that are the girding for achieving joy in life? Or do people want Revduce to talk about the news? We've got Art Being, we've got Deborah Marac, we've got David Stady. Are you still here? Do you hear me? Do you care? We've got to vote for the news on Substack. I don't want to shut you down, David. I'll quickly say that at Revduce's lowest point, he was talking about his video game addiction, and I was selling seashells by the seashore to support it. And so in any time in our lives when we find ourselves in a space of addiction, when we find ourselves at our lowest point, it is very hard to move forward. It is very hard to see the positive and the good and the joy. And the basic tenet here is to realize your space in almost a meditative way, to take stock of your position, your deal, as it were. Take stock of your deal. Are you happy? Are you feeling joy? Are you doing things that satisfy you in life? If you are not, that is an opportunity for change. That is an opportunity to work on your relationship with fear. That is an opportunity to break free from fear's patterns of doubt, shame, guilt, bigotry, persecution, violence, and abuse. And so we say yes, and we will move on to the news now. So let's get back to the news, everybody. Thank you for listening to how this religion works. We're so grateful. So we were talking about how when you lose Reason Magazine, and then we showed how Reason Magazine is just a Trojan horse of the right-wing billionaires who use it to spread climate inaction. It is deeply funded over the years and involved with the Koch brothers, who are just a bunch of fossil fuel dickheads who always wanted to be part of mainstream culture, and everyone hates them, and that is what they have to deal with because it's never enough for them. Nothing is ever enough. The program of fear works on these billionaires harder than it works on any of us. They need control so much that it's never enough. It's never enough to have $50 million. It's never enough to have $100 million. Right? They just have to keep doing things to immiserate the rest of us. If I'm a Koch brother and I have $1 billion and I have successfully destroyed part of the world and its future with my fossil fuels, maybe I say, you know what? Shut them down, boys. Boys, shut them down. Shut down the rigs, boys. Let's call it a day. I'm going to go drink absurdly expensive French Bordeaux's from the 1970s. And do whatever it is that gets my rocks off. The problem is what gets them their rocks off is never having enough. And so we push back on that. So let's keep going through the news so we realize this about them. And now look at this. Sign-in required. Excuse me, a baking powder. Create account. No, excuse me, a baking powder. Let's try this one more time. We were just in Blue Sky. Sign in. Public Enlightenment. Now look at this. This is something, so we need our MAGA friends and loved ones to understand this happens all the time. The lies are everywhere all the time, always, all at once. So this is Rep Miller Meeks. Now, who is this lady and where does she rep? Rep Miller Meeks. Sounds like a rapper. Marionette. Oh my God. Sorry, that was mean. Marionette Miller Meeks, but it's like she's a puppet. She is a quote-unquote moderate Republican and a former ophthalmologist. However, it looks like she can't see her own lies. Yes, and I just nailed it. Because look at this. Will you look at all this? So she is an Iowa Republican who lies about the world, lies about herself. She says, great meeting with Bettendorf Mayor Robert Gallagher to discuss my work to keep taxes low for Iowa families and small businesses through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. How fascinating. Did she have anything to do with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? Well, listen to this, constituent. What do you mean discussed your work to keep taxes low through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act? The law passed 3 years before you entered Congress. The work was done in 2017 by other people who weren't you. I know this might feel like a small thing to nitpick, but it really isn't. Your version of reality has become so skewed that you try to pass things off that already exist as they are your own accomplishments. It's like you can't help yourself to not lie to a point it's now pathological. You did not do any work through the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. So Republican politicians do this all the time. They go back to their home states and their home districts and they say, look at what I did, the Infrastructure and Jobs Act, look at what I did. And they did not do anything. They voted against those things often. This woman she wasn't even in Congress, and she's taking credit for the Jobs Act. So that's just a reminder that Republican politicians especially are lying all the time. You may say, Brian, Democratic politicians lie too. The Democratic Party is not attempting coups and lying to the public about elections. Yes, and. I also just use my real name, and my name is actually Deuce. So this is one that hits close to home for Rev Deuce. And again, if you are watching in Substack, we please ask you to watch on twitch.tv/Public Enlightenment. So this says, the New Republic says, it's insane that Trump is blocking resources to help make sure kids in rural school districts can get online, all because he doesn't like the word equity. So the Digital Equity Act is something that would expand broadband access to rural communities. You know, we may think, oh, everybody has the internet. It's not true. And I guess if you are watching this, you believe that everybody has the internet, but guess what? It's not true. Or maybe you had a very difficult time logging on to watch your friend Deuce today, and you know that it's maybe true. But so Trump killed the woke program, quote unquote woke. We never like to use the word woke here, because it is just a tool of the right-wing billionaire bullshit operation. Angry Trump kills quote-unquote woke program and accidentally screws MAGA voters. So this falls under the category, or always looking out for opportunities to freak everyone out, of coup consequences. And if you are watching this or listening to this in a podcast version, what we have here is a giant pile of money being burnt by Donald Trump on the White House lawn while shackled immigrant children and Handmaid's Tale people look on while a bald eagle bleeds out from the throat. Yes, and this is the sound design I created for that. And I can't get back to my regular screen. So you are a fact warrior, and you are going to send this to some MAGA person that you know today. Right now. In fact, you're going to send it to a MAGA person you know right now. And I'm going to put it in the chats so that you can do that. And thank you so much for the hearts. I know that that's my boy Jason. And if it's not my boy Jason, then please tell me which new boy it is. Tell me which new boy it is who's doing that. We love the new boys. David, I really am sorry to have shut you down. I need to see the multi-stream. Thank you. Yes, and. And now we will continue to go through the news, but this is just the point. We're not going to read this article. This is a funny comment. Government by keyword, our AI future. Now, we have some videos that we're going to watch in a little bit, and they will terrify you, and they may cause depression. And that's okay because you are a member of the Mega Church of Joy, where you know that every single day you have the opportunity to create joy by connecting with other human beings. So now this is a story that is uplifting. This is about people pushing back in the face of this bullshit. And how will you push back? How will you go to a protest very soon? Today, tomorrow, the next day, every day. Political scientists have shown that if 3.5% of a population in a country that is experiencing an authoritarian takeover take to the streets peacefully, that is a nonviolent way to overcome that, and it succeeds. After library officials resisted, the GOJ officials departed without resolving the conflict. One of those sentences that tells you who and where we are as a country in 2025. Librarians are braver than law firms and CEOs. Who is this cat? Alexander Howard. Dad, writer, cyclist, for what? Recovering journalist, ha 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 ha. Okay, we don't know a lot about this guy, but the point stands. So it says the headline from Politico, right-wing operation, Axel Springer owned Operation Politico, normalizing Politico does not mean they don't occasionally write something that is incredible and in the public interest, but it means that lots of times all of that work is undermined by the work they do that is not in the public interest. Normalizing extremism, creating false equivalencies between a radical extremist party and a traditional flawed party. Hill leaders, this is the headline from Politico, Hill leaders question Trump's attempted Library of Congress takeover. Oh, look at that. John Thune said congressional equities are at stake. Well, I guess the leopard is eating John Thune's face. So we're not really going to share that one. We don't need people to share that as fact warriors. I'm sure there's a lot of quotes from John Thune in there where he says, "While I love what Donald Trump is doing in many ways, ... which is like, what do you love? The destruction of our country, the abject corruption, accepting a plane from another nation for his personal use. I mean, it's unbelievable." A Rotary conference in Asheville appears to have ended with a confrontation between U.S. Rep. Chuck Edwards and an unknown man, with witnesses attesting that the congressman struck the attendee. Holy crap. This is from yesterday evening. And I wanted to look into this a little bit. The rumor mill has been churning in Western North Carolina over allegations Edwards struck an audience member after the Peace in Action conference. I mean, okay, this is where we are. If this is real, this is the rumor mill, so we're going to check on it. But we are at a state in our country where Congress members are slapping their constituents in the face. I mean, this is 1800s stuff right here. Says he got into an argument at one of the tables with another Rotarian, and Chuck got upset and hit the guy with a binder and said, "Love you, man," as he walked out. So this could be overly inflated. Maybe he gave him a little tap. The guy he hit claimed he was assaulted. Edwards is claiming that he refused to engage with an intoxicated man that was cursing after his speech. He said he became more belligerent and later called the police. His behavior was embarrassing to people at the event and duly noted by the police. To my knowledge, there was no further action taken by the police. By the way, if you are in Asheville, North Carolina, and you love beer as Rev Deuce does, Rev Deuce would love to tell you to go to Zillicoa. It is a beautiful location on the river. And Zillicoa is making some of the finest German styles and some of the finest wild fermentation styles. It's very interesting, very different. Two different perspectives on beer, and they're crushing it, and I wish I lived there and I'd go there every day. But that would mean I'd have to run a lot more because I'd be such a big tubby. Okay, so this looks like it's actually somewhat salacious by Talking Points Memo to be reporting on this. What was his name? Edward. What the heck is his name even? I just got rid of it. Now I don't even know. Asheville. Rotary hit. He's facing no charges. So I guess it didn't really happen the way it was described. Whacking voter with clipboard. Disturbance came after. So he's facing no charges. So that means that this guy may have been just drunk and then he claimed he wanted to get one over on this MAGA congressman, which, you know, you understand the sentiment, but we gotta go with what the facts are, and the facts are there were no charges. So we're just going to call that one kind of a nothing burger, and we're going to move on. Now, we are on Twitter here, and so since we are on Twitter, we are going to let everyone know that Elon Musk is not well with our classic video, Elon Musk wellness check. Jason, I'm so appreciative of the hearts. It's incredible. It's truly incredible. Because I don't think very many people are in the Substack today, and I would love for people to come over to the Twitch, but they are not. Now, check this out. Okay, Alec Karakatsanis is a major follow. If you care about issues of civil rights, if you care about issues of police brutality, if you care about issues of police overreaching, Alec Karakatsanis is a major follow for you, and you need to get on the Alec Karakatsanis platform. He also points out, I think he has a book called Copaganda, and so I think that you need to buy that book if you care about issues of criminal justice. And he's also if you follow him, I believe he's probably on Blue Sky as well. Let's see if he's on Blue Sky as well, because, I shouldn't be telling people to go. Let's get in here for 1 second. Alec Karakatsanis. Jeez Louise. I spelled his first name wrong. I called him Alex. He'll forgive us. Shit. There we go. Alec. You just got to go Alec. So he's over there. He's following no one. What a pure soul. But so, yeah, he's got this book, Copaganda, How Police and the Media Manipulate Our News. I mean, I need to read it. I need to read that book. But so let's wait. Maybe he makes this point on his... Man, this guy's incredible. He says, one of my favorite things about Mondays is that there's usually a New York Times article about crushing unhoused people that doesn't mention the concepts of inequality, capitalism, redistribution of wealth, or anything that could even conceivably be referred to as a root cause. This guy's dope. Yeah, so he does this all here. So we're going to delete this. Although we were so happy to do our Elon Musk video. And I think, everyone, the show's going to be shorter today, and then I'm going to go over to TikTok and see what's going on over there. I think that's what I'm going to do, and it is not because I'm not grateful to Jason and to David and to everyone else, to Madison, everyone else who's here. I just think I got to keep trying for that TikTok gold, baby. And, not every day is going to be a banger, And I think, I think I need to honor my energy there, where it's like, okay, look, we're having a light day. I actually emailed 1,000 people, and we've only had 10 come into Substack so far. So I think I got to follow the fear of upsetting you all and push towards where my energy wants to go. But let's go. I'm giving you high value. You can't deny it. But we will watch a couple videos first. So see if you can spot the difference between... That's fascinating, Madison. I can make you a mod, I'm pretty sure. Dang nabbit. I don't know but how you would do that before they did it, though. So anyway, see if you can spot the difference between the New York Times headline and the article's own description of what actually happened, which will be read by far fewer people, because Alec knows, like we do here as fact warriors, that 6 in 10 Americans, and this is an old stat, maybe it's gotten time to get larger, 6 in 10 Americans share articles online only after reading the headline. And that's how they get you. Here we go. Here's the headline. Police and Brooklyn College protesters clash after pro-Palestinian rally. Police and Brooklyn College protesters clash after pro-Palestinian rally. Now, what would be your takeaway if you just saw that headline? Maybe you are a pro-Israel American and you're like, I gotta share this around. These pro-Palestinians, they're doing illegal stuff that's causing the police to have to do something. Now, if you know anything about the NYPD and their practices, you know that you have to be doing nothing illegal for the NYPD to do very many illegal things to you. I was watching Channel 5 last night, and, you know, Channel 5 is a mixed bag because they do some really good stuff, and then they also do a lot of things that undermine Rev Deuce's program of trying to teach people about the information ecosystem. They are sponsored by Ground News, and this whole idea that Ground News, this whole idea that all these media bias sites push, which is that mainstream corporate commercial outlets, or even like the Huffington Post, is like left news, is absurd. Huffington Post is not a labor newsroom. Huffington Post is not a socialist newsroom. It's not a communist newsroom. It writes headlines and frames things in ways that appeal to the left, but it is not, the information that they share is not information to boost the left in America. And it is created as a money-making enterprise. On the right, Tucker Carlson, I don't know if Daily Caller even makes money, but it is created to spread propaganda. So they get it totally twisted. Anyway, I'm so digressing right now. So this is actually a paragraph in the article. Again, the article's headline, Police and Brooklyn College protesters clash after pro-Palestinian rally. It says, a few minutes later, officers stepped into the crowd to make more arrests, taking some people into custody after punching, kicking, or slamming them to the ground. It was unclear what prompted the officers to move in aggressively. One man was quickly surrounded by several officers and put to the ground. One of the officers pulled out a taser and pointed it in the man's direction. A popping sound could be heard and wires dangled from his pants. As officers led him away, several ambulances arrived. So it says they clash, right? But then in the article, it says that without any provocation that could be described by a professional news gathering organization, that the officers just aggressively moved into the crowd and started punching and kicking and slamming people to the ground. That is probably just at the direction of a white shirt. White shirts are the NYPD cops who are like the head dickheads in charge. Let's see what else Alec has to say about this. He says, one of the standard media tropes is the clash, which leaves casual news consumers with the vague sense that opposing sides were each violent. Even though what's often happening is that an unaccountable, violent, repressive force is brutalizing people complaining about injustice. It's also worth noting the shameful conduct of university administrators. If you think about what they mean by the word safety here, the implications are dark and Orwellian for our society. Pardon me. A spokesman for Brooklyn College said in a statement that demonstrators had violated college policy by putting up the tents. When the tents were not taken down after repeated warnings, City University of New York security officers and the New York City police removed them and dispersed the crowd, according to the spokesman Richard Pietras. The safety of our campus community will always be paramount, and Brooklyn College respects the right to protest while also adhering to strict rules meant to ensure the safe operation of our university. So apparently tents are unsafe. And so that leads to a predicate where anything can be described as unsafe. Oh, you are wearing glasses? Well, glasses make people unsafe, and so therefore I will punch them off your face and arrest you. Oh, you are carrying signs and peacefully standing? Well, peacefully standing and carrying signs creates unsafe conditions, so I will punch you in the face and arrest you. Oh, look at that. You happen to have, you happen to be wearing pants. Well, pants are unsafe, and they create unsafe conditions on Brooklyn College. Not those pants over there. The pants you are wearing specifically, sir, are unsafe and creating unsafe conditions, so I will punch you in the face and arrest you. Now, you better hold your breath. Quit breathing, because your breathing is unsafe, and so I must punch you in the face and arrest you. Oh, you believe this? Well, the thoughts that you believe are unsafe thoughts. We've determined your thoughts are unsafe, and so we must punch you in the face and arrest you. Do you see the slippery slope? Alec goes on to say, one of the most important things I've ever written is chapter 6 of my new book, Copaganda. All the royalties are donated to charity, he adds. I think a lot about what Stuart Hall and James Baldwin said half a century ago. When I think about many university leaders, we must organize against them. David with an amazing comment. Less a slippery slope and more a cliff. Yes, and. So what was I going to do next? Okay, that is it for that portion of the day. I do have to do something before noon. But so I wanted to show y'all a couple of videos that I scrounged up for everybody on TikTok. Madison with another incredible comment. Pargas family coming through hardcore. Fox News host would be like, these people really want people who are thinking probably about gang violence around your children. Just to say, these people are thinking about gang violence around your children. The guy who works at the store. Hey, Paltus. Welcome into the show. We are about to check out some videos so that you can be a fact warrior every single time you are online. What are the reposts that I did? So I think this is a persuasive argument that you should share with people, because it is an information war out there after all. And so when people see a white guy with a hardcore Boston accent speaking up for due process.
My name is Frank Murray. I'm the president of Local 7 Iron Workers here in Boston, Massachusetts. And I'm here to talk about the illegal deportation of Brother Kilmar Garcia. He was snatched up off the street coming home from work with his son in the backseat of the car, and now he's being deported to El Salvador. I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine how Brother Kilmar feels. I couldn't imagine how his wife feels. This administration, they still are not willing to get Brother Kilmar out of this prison when they know that they can take him back, and they know that they were wrong. We talk about on the job site a lot is going in safe, working safe, and being able to leave and get home safely. Brother Kilmar should be able to leave off that job that he risked his life to do on a daily basis to provide for his family. He should be able to walk the streets or drive the streets the same way that he is treated at work on a union job site. With safety in mind, they've been trying to bring him down.
So we want you to share that video with everyone. It's another minute long. Please go watch it on your own. We are going to drop that into the chat in Substack. We already dropped it into the chat on the Dealio. Now check out this video.
On your own.
Oh,
We're
no.
gonna drop
What did I
that
do?
into the
Excuse me, a baking powder. Pardon moi. Let's go back over here and check out this other video here. We are going to use this video especially to be fact warriors today.
Chilling clips I've ever heard. And just hold on and trust me, because it's not that chilling until you realize what it means.
The basic idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
That's tech billionaire and Republican megadonor Peter Thiel speaking at a Libertopia a libertarian conference in 2010. He's basically saying that his political ideology is so unappealing that it'll never win elections. And that's one thing he's right about, because he's railed against women having the right to vote, complained so much about diversity, and written some really disgusting stuff about sexual assault and consent. But he knows that he can use technology as a unilateral alternative to politics, and that should really freak you out. Thiel is one of the co-founders and biggest investors in Palantir, a CIA-funded technology company that has contracts across the government for their data software. Here's their CFO speaking a few years ago.
We continue to advance our mission of becoming the U.S. government's central operating system as we extend our footprint across defense, healthcare, and civilian agencies.
And while both President Obama and Biden did sign Palantir contracts, President Trump is taking it way further. There are new contracts with ICE, something literally called Immigration OS, and the IRS. So 15 years ago, Peter Thiel, like the supervillain in a movie explaining his plan to the hero, admitted that he can use technology to get his ideas across when they're unpopular, completely subverting democracy. And today, one of his technology companies is gaining more and more power within the government, building the very systems our government relies on. And oh yeah, this is the CEO.
The central risk to Palantir and America and the world is a regressive way of thinking that is corrupting and corroding our institutions, that calls itself progressive, but actually, and is called woke, but is actually a form of a thin pagan religion.
If you're a progressive, if you have progressive values, meaning you just, care about other people, the CEO of the company building America's technological back end thinks of you as the central risk. He thinks of you as the enemy. Are these the people you want running the systems you rely on, or worse, the systems that surveil you?
Yeah, so hell yeah to Perfect
I want to
Union.
play for you one of the most...
And if this is the most essential, Shelly, welcome into the program. Shelly, we recognize that you're not on Twitch for some reason, but that's okay. We love you, Shelly. Please don't feel bad. Please don't feel bad, Shelly. Now look at this, everybody. We are going to drop this. If you do one thing today to be a fact warrior, this is what Rev Deuce wants you to do. So we're so glad for your timing. Shelly, please go and spread this video that we just watched. If you do one thing today, spread that video. And if it means that you have to tell all your friends to get a TikTok account, do it. And you could have them also follow, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, we've got the Hall of Mirrors here. You could also follow their Instagram account, because they have one as well. You know what I mean? So we got to be doing this. Shelly, thank you. I know you followed yesterday. I'm just talking about where you're viewing the program, and we're grateful that you're here on Substack. And if you're viewing on Substack and Twitch at the same time, you are a hero. But so look, we are having a slow one today, but we are crushing it with information. I want to show y'all this. Now, this is something that I did not repost. Again, a reminder on TikTok, RevDeuce's reposts, had a lot of trouble speaking there. RevDeuce's reposts are things for you to go and share with everyone at all times, because they are persuasive pieces of information and messaging in a time when we are in an information war, where foreign adversaries and the people in our own country are trying to destroy trust and faith in each other. But now look at this. Bad stuff. If you're not an American citizen, you're here illegally, there's no due process. And I'm telling you, this is coming to a head. We are going to suspend the writ of habeas corpus if the courts keep ruling against this and don't allow these mass deportations to continue. Just like President Lincoln, this was an invasion. The country's at war. He's commander-in-chief. It's Article 2 power. And this is going to come. Are you predicting that will happen? Or first off, there is going to be a constitutional crisis before the court leaves. You know this. You just saw the federal judge in San Francisco last night ruled against his Article 2 power to basically rearrange and take, fire people in these agencies, etc. There's a challenge. The only way the Democrats are even winning right now is to delay, to deny is to delay. They have no political operation. They have no counter argument. They have no populist economics. So what they're doing is getting more and more radical on these raids, like they did in New Jersey yesterday. And the judges are trying to stop him. The Supreme Court's going to have to make a decision about President Trump's Article 2 powers, and we're going to see it. And I believe if the courts keep trying to slow him down, you're going to see him, as Stephen Miller laid out
pretty well yesterday, and it'll be, I'm sure, developed over time, suspension of the writ of habeas corpus, just like President Lincoln did in the Civil War.
Will Trump run for a third term?
Yes.
So,
And he'll win the third term.
So why isn't this Financial Times, first of all, why isn't this Financial Times crowd booing? Okay, that's the first thing. I know you may say, oh, Financial Times, and yeah, they are probably all well-heeled, and they probably just like, here we go. What's Jason saying? This guy always says we. Meanwhile, he is like the guy on the outside looking in, begging to be heard. I'm with you guys. Now, look at this. Now, see, look at this. I don't know if you can see this on the screen. Let me pull this to the side. There's a huge failure of mainstream media. Financial Times is mainstream media. They call Steve Bannon a right-wing firebrand. No. Steve Bannon is a radical extremist. Steve Bannon is someone who has said that that he wants to destroy democracy. Steve Bannon is someone who has said that he is a Leninist who wants to burn it all down. So Steve Bannon is not some nice guy who wears 5 collars in a single outfit. Steve Bannon is a radical extremist. He is not a firebrand, and firebrand is mainstream media's #1 term to use to describe radical extremists who want to destroy democracy and who are in the process of destroying democracy. Other famous firebrands, as spoken about by our mainstream media, are Marjorie Taylor Greene, are Jim Jordan. These people are constantly referred to as firebrands. In fact, let's do a little thing here. Firebrand. Let's see who comes up, and then we'll click news. Let's see if it's in the headline. Obey the law. Conservative firebrand torches blue state immigration policies. Okay, and that's Fox News using that term. 2 outspoken Atlanta Black Star. 2 outspoken political firebrands from opposite sides. This is about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jasmine Crockett. That is a unfortunate comparison. Jasmine Crockett may be, may use effusive language, but she is not an enemy of democracy as Marjorie Taylor Greene is, and she is not a conspiracy theorist as Marjorie Taylor Greene is. Firebrand MAGA senator jumps into race for governor. The Raw story. Tommy Tuberville. Tommy Tuberville lies about elections. He's not a firebrand. He is an enemy of democracy and a known liar. Yo, that's an awesome idea, David. Hell yeah, David. David, I love you so much. And David, also the characters that you call in with yesterday. Sorry, I'm going to blow up the spot. Sorry, Jason. And sorry, David. But Ron, I felt that was good acting. Because I felt for Ron. Ron felt like a real, actualized person who really is struggling with his parents who don't want him to become an information ecologist. So hell yeah, dude. So again, firebrand is a way that mainstream media uses euphemistic language to describe reality to us. Right? Look at this. Conservative firebrand Steve Bannon. Raw Story is calling him. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican firebrand. Okay, that's not a word that means anything to anyone, really. You know, when do you never say that in your daily life? You say, may wacko, extremist, freak, Nazi, fascist. Nobody says firebrand, and it's because it's not a word we use. And if our mainstream media is using words we don't use to describe reality back to us, well, that gives away the game a little bit, that they are not interested in describing reality accurately for reasons of access, right? They don't want Marjorie Taylor Greene to further attack them. Incredible. All right, let's go back to this video.
It's pretty clear what his Article 2 power is, and I think we have 250 lawsuits in federal court right now. So when people tell me that, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear what the president's power is. It's pretty clear what his power is to basically reprogram. And he had a federal judge yesterday gave a temporary restraining order for the entire nation on 21 different agencies. So when I hear that argument, I say, hey, the Constitution's clear on a lot of things until it's defined. President Trump will run again. He will run again, and he will win again, and he'll be the president on the afternoon of January 2029. If you're not...
That's not a thing a firebrand says. That's something who wants to destroy the Constitution says. That's not something a firebrand says. That's someone who has said that the media is the enemy and you have to flood the zone with shit because I am a Leninist who wants to tear it all down says. That is something that someone who is an apparatchik of the Christian Nationalist Council for National Policy says. People who want to destroy the Constitution and replace it with a theocracy. Okay, a Christian theocracy to destroy the Constitution, the idea of the separation of church and state. That is what someone like that says. Thank you. Now let's go to the profile here where we retweeted some things, whatever the word is that you're supposed to call it. Enrique Tarrio of the Proud Boys, speaking of another quote-unquote firebrand. Enrique Tarrio of the Proud Boys has posted a photo of himself with Trump. This is someone who was in jail for at least 20 years because they had been plotted and planned a coup against the United States government, and now Donald Trump is appearing with him in public. And will our mainstream media talk about that? Will they talk about the obvious nature of Trump's abject corruption, this plane that he got? Now look at this. So Madison, I hear you in your fear, and I'm so grateful that you shared your fear with us today. The thing is, Madison, that if we get to the point where what Steve Bannon in a way is also trolling. He's also putting up a trial balloon. He's also trying to set the conditions amongst the MAGAs. Excuse me. I mean, Donald Trump is probably not going to be alive in 4 years. And I'm not saying anything about violence or anything like that. He's an old man. He's like 80 years old. He's not going to be fit to lead in 4 years. Okay? So really, it's ultimately a troll, and I don't want you to be as scared as it feels like you are. But I want to show you this. That is so loud. Sorry. I don't know which one to turn down. Oh, wait, hold on. Turn that off. Top White House advisor Stephen Miller says we're actively looking at suspending due process for migrants. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended at a time of invasion. So they have lied about immigration to make it to be able to say it's an invasion, and judges are saying, where's your evidence that we are under an invasion? An invasion means a coordinated attack by a sovereign nation. It does not mean a bunch of people in countries that we have immiserated with our imperialism over the last 50 to 60 to 70 to 100 years looking for a better life. That does not equate an invasion. And they have to continue the rhetoric of these people are terrorists and all this stuff to, at least in the political public square, establish this idea of an invasion when there is none. And so that will lead the MAGA supporters to themselves take to the streets, I guess, but maybe with weapons, when these judges are continuing to shut down the program, right? The program of Project 2025 is extreme and radical and anti-constitutional. And so as a result, they have to condition the public to accept the destruction of the Constitution. Yes, and. Okay, Rev Deuce is going to wrap it up. He's old, unhealthy man. That is true, Jason. Rev Deuce is going to wrap it up here, and he is going to show you this one last thing of the disinformation that we are all up against at all times so that you can be fighting in the information war. So you can be inspired to fight in the information war. President Trump has accepted, what is this account? The Goat Roper. The Goat Roper has 60,000 followers. Okay. Rev Deuce has 2,000. President Trump has accepted this luxury 747 from Qatar for use as Air Force One. He got this beast for the U.S. for free. Democrats are complaining. Now, even the people in the comments on social media are getting this one right on TikTok. There are laws against this for reasons. Everyone should be complaining, not just the Democrats. Imagine if Obama did this. Imagine if Obama accepted a jet from Qatar. Same MAGA cultists that are okay with this complained about Hunter Biden. He already said it will be transferred to his presidential library to be used by him after his presidency, tax-free, straight-up bribe. Can't stop breaking the law. I mean, when did all these people arrive on social media, on TikTok, to speak the truth? Incredible. Because Rev Deuce's experience is it's a lot of people saying nonsense. Mom Ro, hey, welcome. So great to have you here. We're going over to TikTok. We're going over to TikTok right now. I'm grateful for everybody. We're going to see how we do on TikTok. I think I'm going to lead with playing the video of the... I'm going to play that video from Perfect Union because I think there's plenty of people just like don't like Peter Thiel. Let's go. Let's do it. So, Jason, we are so grateful for you. Jason, we're going to still come back here every day until such a time as maybe we don't, but we are. And so we're so grateful for you, and we love you so much. And so we are going to bump over to TikTok right now. We also just got even more viewers. So those viewers, come over to TikTok Public Enlightenment. We are going to go over there. We're probably going to sing a song over there. I have so much to do. I needed to take a break yesterday, so I took a little break. But I got to make those other songs into songs. Jason, we love you so much. If you want to come over to TikTok, it's Public Enlightenment on TikTok. You know the drill. So we love you. We're going to head over there right now. We're going to do about 50 minutes of programming, and we love you so much. And so we remind you to go to all of Rev Deuce's social media on Public Enlightenment. Go to all of the things, use all the tools, spread the tools, use the videos, watch the videos all the way to the end. Click on something in them because engagement is key. Tell your parents and loved ones and friends and neighbors. Take their phones out of their hands and look up Rev Deuce stuff. Okay? All right. I love you. You love me. We are an intergalactic family that is healing the nation with information. We are saving the MAGAs from themselves. Remind me to make you guys moderators when we are there. Worship facts at all times. Tell people to just go and follow. They don't have to go and follow on Twitch during the program. So just tell people to go and follow on Twitch during the program. Worship facts. Give the gift of the good news. The Good News Bible is actually just a newspaper. And so give that to MAGA people whenever you can. We've got to get them back onto a fact-based stream of reality. I had an incredible conversation with my friend yesterday about COVID and how when I talk about the 3 C's, when I talk about communication, community, comprehension, and control, I need to add another one, COVID. Because people are trying to make sense of the world and these giant dickheads are taking advantage. So yes, and I'm getting a little distracted. Here we go. See you on TikTok in about 1 minute. Bye-bye.